Welcome to the vault. Accused Idaho killer Bryan Kohberger was a brilliant student, the sales professor claims. I'm kind of shocked that she's speaking out because the other professor decided to be quiet during this investigation. So why did this professor decide to speak out? I will read you the said commentary. New York Post is the source. A former university professor, Bryan Kohberger, said the accused killer was one of my best students ever, and that the then master's candidate was one of the only two students she had recommended to a PhD program. Michelle Bolger, 33, an associate professor at DeSales University in Pennsylvania, told the Daily Mail that Kohberger, who was arrested in the murders of four University of Idaho students, was a great writer and brilliant student. In my 10 years of teaching, I've only recommended two students to a PhD program, and he was one of them. He was one of my best students ever. Everyone is in shock over this, she told the outlet, adding that he was always perfectly professional with her. The associate professor at the private Catholic University in Center Valley, Pennsylvania, says she was stunned that her former student has been charged in a shocking crime. This is a photograph of the said associate professor. Very interesting information. Michelle Bolger, an associate professor at DeSales University, described Mr. Kohberger as a brilliant student. The suspect one of her best students. Very interesting information. Effort, Pennsylvania. Favorite memory or quote? It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Aristotle. I am shocked as SHI, you know what, at what he's been accused of. I don't believe it, but I get it, Bolger said. This news is upsetting. I haven't slept at all since hearing about Bryan, quote unquote. Bolger told the news outlet that she taught Kohberger in an online class last year and helped him with his master's thesis at DeSales. I never saw him in person. I couldn't tell you how tall he was or how much he weighed. My only interaction with him was via email and Zoom. I didn't know anything about him, whether he was married, had a girlfriend, etc. Bolger told the Daily Mail. Very interesting. The circle of victims: Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie. May they rest in peace. Prayers to their families. He seemed normal to me, but then again, I only knew him from teaching him online. I didn't know anything personal about him. I believe he worked full-time like most of our graduate students do, she added. Bolger said she advised Kohberger with his thesis, which involved questioning people about their thoughts and feelings during the commission of a crime. So perhaps she is the one who approved these questionings that he was asked and he's being critiqued on now after the fact, and know that the school did approve those question of that questionnaire that everyone's talking about now. This did happen during his master's program at DeSales, if you need verification. Bolger said she advised Kohberger with his thesis, which involved questioning people about their thoughts and feelings during the commission of a crime. I was one of the professors who helped Bryan with his proposal on his graduate thesis, his capstone project. He did put out a routine questionnaire for his thesis. It looks weird, I understand, from the public view, but in criminology it's normal, she told the Daily Mail. And I've also made the same sentiment, that this would be considered normal considering what he was studying at the time. And this is one of the students there that states his behavior while at school here recently. It's a criminology theory called script theory. It's a normal theory on how and why criminals commit their crimes, etc., she said. After graduating from DeSales last year, Kohberger enrolled as a doctoral student at Washington State University in Pullman, just 15 minutes from Moscow. The 28-year-old was arrested Friday in his family home in Pennsylvania and will soon be extradited to Idaho to face 4 counts of first-degree murder after he waived his right to an extradition hearing. He is eager to be exonerated on these charges and looks forward to resolving these matters as promptly as possible, his public defender Jason LaBar said in a statement. That is the sad information coming from the New York Post pertaining to Bryan Kohberger, who has been arrested. He is going to be going back to Idaho. He's waived extradition. He wants to have his day in court. These are the victims that are circled. Maddie at the top, Ethan, Xana to the right, and Kaylee, bottom left. Very interesting information. Mr. Bryan Kohberger, Effort, Pennsylvania. Quoting Aristotle, he looks very thin and frail here. Sickly, matter-of-factly. Once was an overweight kid, bullied by girls, possibly other students. Mugshot in the county jail in Pennsylvania. And this Michelle Bolger, who is giving commentary pertaining to being a professor, works by the book. She was the one who helped orchestrate this questionnaire, which is no big deal in this line of work we hear. And I didn't think of a big deal about it either because he was studying criminology. So I don't dwell on things that should be obvious to the general public. My commentary is that nobody knew him fully. And you don't fully know anyone. Whether he studied criminology to see more about himself and learn more about himself, that will be up to Mr. Kohberger to reveal this information. But due to the fact that he wants to go back to Idaho to exonerate himself, we will never get the truth of who he really is, his mindset, his reasonings for killing these kids. If he decided that he wanted to kill others, is he implicated in other crimes? Has he killed other people? Did he have a cohort? Did he tell his parents? What does his parents know? Father know? You will never know the truth. As someone has said in commentary I played earlier in a live stream, you will not know the full gist of his crimes and mindset until all exhaustive measures have been exacted in the criminal trial against him that will come eventually. He will only probably tell the truth of who he is, why he decided to kill these kids, how long he's thought about murdering people, until there is nothing left for him to do, such as no more appeals. He realized he's not coming out of prison. That will be the only time that you will get the truth pertaining to Bryan Kohberger, who he is, his mindset, why he committed this crime, if he's committed other crimes, when he came to be this monster, born a killer, made a killer, any type of mental disorders diagnosed by physicians. We will possibly learn all this during trial, who he is, mental states, diagnoses. And as I said, when all measures have been exhausted through a legal courts, is then when you will find out who he really is and his mindset. He will play these mind games such as Gacy and Bundy, pretending that he's innocent, but when he realizes he can no longer appear in court, file any more court appeals, that's when he will tell you who he is and how he came to be this monster. This is a very sad tale, but it is an often told tale here in our society of people walking around us pretending to be normal, chameleons, sociopaths, psychopaths, and no one has any idea that they harbor ill will, resentment towards mankind, women specifically. Possibly he's never dated, never had a girlfriend, possibly never had sexual relations with a woman, longing to belong, fit in with others, fit into this ideology of how we are supposed to be, look, act, portray ourselves. But that's the point. He was never happy with himself. So naturally, he can't be happy with others. He never learned how to talk, navigate, hold a conversation. He mimicked what was expected of him, but he didn't do a good job at that. When did he decide he wanted to murder another human being? How long has he felt this way towards women? Who is Bryan Kohberger? And how did this monster come to be? And this professor is probably going to say what a lot of people said. He was nice, he was kind, he was quiet, he was awkward. But he also is a killer. They didn't know him. The only people that truly know him possibly are his parents. And so far they are enabling him, supporting him. But there's DNA linking him to the scene. So that's a fact, not an erroneous assumption. Thank you for joining me. Like, share, subscribe. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie, 129 Cash App. All chat stickers are welcome during the live stream. You have been listening to The Vault.